afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda Hero, like Defender of the Fatherland. Off here to everything 1 vs 1 on Langala Sky between the South out here. J for Jet, fighting for America, freedom, democracy, the American way. Taking on the role of the 7th Armored Division, tasked with clearing out this area, helped by the Germans under the command of Theodosius, here with 1 and 6th Panzer Brigade Feldherrnhalle. He's got Luftwaffe, Special Operations, and Breakthrough, ready to break through J for Jet's spine. With Kuhlwagen Infantry Panther bulletins there, versus Armour, Heavy Cavalry, and Tactical Support. There with Grenades and Infantry there for J for Jet, certainly opening up for some tank call-ins there for freedom. We got the Kuhlwagen into full to start here for Theodosius, allowing him to secure territory rapidly. His Sturmpani is swiftly moving ahead, wiring off the tractor to ensure no one runs off with it, or more likely, no one uses it for cover. Kuhlwagen continuing to push up the eastern side here, moving down. They could probably set up here and set up sandbags as well, so in case J for Jet pushes for the point, Theodosius can more easily contest it and defend it. Sturmpani inside the house. We got Rearsen's laying down wire there around the haystacks. Rather than advancing their Rearsen's, they're pushing up the other side. Force the Sturmpani to split their fire, but of course also just, avoiding the bastards. And of course also further forcing them to the heavy to try to deal with the rifle and allow the Rearsen's to maybe push up here against the fuel pond there. So we'll have to see what J for Jet does and how Theodosius reacts. We got more rifle away there for J for Jet, pushing against the Fultz attack, heavy cover, cross open ground with little cover utilised there. There's a small chance the Fultz can do sufficient damage before the rifle closes them. In this case, they do manage to do enough damage to the Fultz as they close them themselves, and up close, they do a lot more damage. But the arrival of the 2nd Fultz squad might just turn the tide there for Theodosius and the 1 and 6th Panzer Brigade Feldherrnhalle. I think it was one of the few, if not the only Panzer Brigade that had not been dissolved or upgraded or anything else like that by the end of the war, since most of the other Panzer Brigades generally either didn't do well enough or did reasonably well enough to actually get upgraded to sort of a more actual divisional status. Fun fact. Here's being pushed back, Sturmpans closing in on the Riflemen with the Sturmgewehrs. They're taking apart those Americans up close and close quarters combat. The M1 Garand simply cannot keep up with the might of the Sturmgewehr at those ranges. Fultz is pushing up towards the centre here with more on the way there for Theodosius and the German army. Troops reinforcing here. We got a bit of tank tramping up here to help defend the western victory point, to claim it for America. And the question is, of course, what's J for Jet going to go for? Most likely it's going to go for the Captain, because that's sort of the current, I would say, meta game here between the Americans and the Oberkommando West. The Americans go for the Captain because that would get a Steward, so that way, counter the, well, it's most likely going to be a Lux from the Oberkommando West. This Steward tends to be sort of a very solid counter for the German light reconnaissance tank. Full moving ahead, they're going to occupy the house, catching here J for Jet slightly unprepared. He's basically also bunching up his units there, trying to hammer his way through Theodosius there with raw force and fearlessness. In this case, trying to isolate units here like this and just sort of overwhelm them with numbers. In this case, he pushes it out a bit too far. Small chance of the wipe, which will cut J for Jet here quite harshly in the early game. In this case, seems to be pulling off, though again, rather harsh losses here. J for Jet seems to almost desperately just hurl his men at Theodosius. Got a check there for Theodosius, considering the timing. Likely going to be mechanised regiment here. Also, it's not like Theodosius has gone for a ton of infantry, which seems to be more where some will go for battle group headquarters. So hitting the cutoff point there, though. J for Jet again swinging aggressively here at Theodosius. And the Captain very much as predicted. Very much the safer bet there for most American players. Because of the need to retreat, though. Would be a shame here for J for Jet to get them wiped. But it's looking very likely here. Sturmpani Fultz with Kuhlwagen. Oh, gets away. Fultz is remaining here. Theodosius to occupy with everything going on there. Also could actually push here for J for Jet's Scarf on. Loose done some harassment behind his lines. No, Theodosius pulls a bit of a surprise move there. He's going for the battle group headquarters. And J for Jet, they're going for a mortar. So battle group headquarters there for Theodosius. Might be plans on taking up faster, or he might be planning a fast flak half track, which isn't going to do particularly better versus the Stuart, though. So in that regard, the Stuart is going to work versus both. Of course, he could be planning light infantry guns in some kind of far-reaching plan here from Theodosius of the 1 and 6th Panzer Brigade Feldherrnhalle. Kuhlwagen Sturmpani moving up here, tagging into the riflemen who are themselves pushing forwards here. Losses slowly being inflicted on the American infantry as they're being subjected to harsh bullet fire. In the south, the Captain advancing, well, spearheading from the rear there, his force there with the Thompson submachine gun. Catching the photograph guard, will quickly fall back towards the house, which is once more free, with the no occupants in it of the American persuasion. Meanwhile, Jeff pushing up, but again, his force have actually taken quite a bit of a beating there, so he can't really push too far ahead. He can try and secure as much air to elsewhere, and that may force the Theodosius to split up his forces. But beyond that, Jafford Jet's men are rather extended. I mean, he's only got 2 rifle squads, so he's sort of relying on a strangely aggressive tactic, but at the same time one that struggles a bit to sustain itself over prolonged periods of time. Of course, yes, the Rearson sort of pick up the slack a bit, but they are not riflemen, and they're obviously not supposed to be. It could be... oh, hang on there. Could be he's planning either heavy cavalry rangers, in which case he's saving up manpower, to then have the rangers sort of, you know, pick up the slack, or he could be planning tactical support, in which case he's planning on just equipping as many men with Browning light machine guns, in which case he wants the cheaper rearsalons to do the job, because with Browning light machine guns it's all become half decent. In which case Jafford Jet can equip an army a bit on the cheaper side there. Jafford Jet, clearly the discount commander of the United States forces. Clearly not the Patton type, who's very extravagant when you're sort of making himself look very tough and standing out there. So obviously not exactly a cheapskate compared to Jafford Jet. I gotta win this war, and I gotta win it on the cheap. The American people will not allow waste of taxpayer money. So troops reinforcing here, stood almost done, and there you go, got the Browning light machine gun there handed out to the rifle, increasing our firepower, notably. Also freeing up Jafford Jet, they're having to tech. That does at least leave him in the situation where he can't go for bazookas, at least he has to then tech for those. But he's probably relying on anti-tank guns and stewards here to pull through. I like 2 Browning light machine guns out in the field, and of course the rearsalons can further be upgraded with these mighty weapons of war. More to their firing, of course, giving Jafford Jet here the advantage in artillery. Not a huge one, but it's still a notable one. Stood rolling out, they're going to go straight here for Theodosius' throat. But he is unaware that Theodosius has seen through Jafford Jet's strategy here and has prepared a Kedmev already. I mean, he's seen the captain, so Theodosius here obviously is no novice. He's a man who's seen a lot of things, and he also knows, you know, the meta game, and if you see a captain, there's a high likelihood of a steward. In this regard, Jafford Jet here, again, playing very aggressively. They apparently had not foreseen that, you know, the captain might, you know, tip away what Jafford Jet was planning, and thus, you know, force him to be more careful around the front. Could also be there's a misclick or pathing error, who knows, but in this case, the steward pretty much ended up just being training for the Kedmev crew. My God, the Americans, they are so generous, yeah. They're providing us with live targets. Oh. I must make sure to send the commander mine regards. Of course, they're getting blasted with the double Browning light machine guns, of course, capable of doing a lot of damage there. Steel post flank behind the rifle, though, quickly pushing them away, leaving only 1 rifle squad out to demand the front line. We got the rearsalons here, Metri 2 with their own Browning light machine guns, ready to threaten some crowds. And there you go, Brandhand gun out, flashing away 2nd squad there from its cover. Even as the steel post once again, the rearsalons taking losses from the light machine guns, the M1 carbines. But German will mostly prevails, except for Ludwig and Friedrich, which turned out did not believe in Endsieg. So what will Jafford Jet do next? They're having lost his steward, having lost his light tank. On the other hand, Theodosius is yet to upgrade any of his full grenadiers with the mighty assault rifles, so that way show German superiority in the face of all these Browning light machine guns which Jafford Jet are bringing to the party. He's also maintaining good map control, and this again despite a force relying only really on 2 rifle squads and 2 reaction squads. Of course the Brownings do help, but even then he's just using his infantry so aggressively, so boldly, that Theodosius, I think, is sort of struggling to sort of, you know, keep up with it. And of course the Brownings is only going to make it, you know, more nasty here for Theodosius and the German army. One good option for Theodosius would be to consider an MG34, but otherwise it feels like he's to an extent going for this because he wants you to be able to push out a Schwerpanzer quarters faster, and thusly Panzer IVs, which tend to be my preferred strategy, as well as the Oberkommando West want to do play them, and that is push the Panzer IV as fast as possible, get it as veteran as fast as possible, and that way begin hurting the Americans or whatever allied faction I'm playing against. The Obercommand Panzer IV tends to be the best bet because once it hits Veteran 2, it's, starts to get going. Meanwhile, the Fulton's being pushed back. Theodosius not expending munitions on mines or assault rifles here. That is starting to look a bit worrying there. Wondering what Theodosius is planning. He's not chosen a doctrine either, so it feels like there's a bit of a lacking there. Rierson charging into the MD-34. Fulton's holding up behind some cover. Americans there getting blasted to bits. Artillery fire there. Exterminating several riflemen there, leaving behind only Carl and Bob with a light machine gun. And even they might balk a bit at all this. Ooh, smokescreen here from Yay, splendid on the MD-34. In this case, though, bit too late, but I like the idea. I like the idea. And meanwhile, though, Theodosius giving aggressive flank here with the Kuban. He's back taking for the looks. Not the looks, the lieutenant. Not sure why my mind went for the looks there. That's a curious choice there for Jeff. But looks like he's going to try and counter the infantry, which Theodosius is still not upgrading. Rather than trying to maybe push ahead for some medium armor. He is somewhat leaving himself vulnerable here to Theodosius pushing ahead fast for some armor. Though even then, considering the fact that Obercommand's tech is reasonably expensive to get there, it's not going to be too bad. Plus, of course, the Panzer IV itself reasonably expensive as well. So even if it does have it out here, it's going to take some time to push out any medium armor. Comparatively, Jaffa yet could in the same span of time be able to push out a Sherman faster, despite having backtick for the lieutenant here. I do wonder, has he actually upgraded the lieutenant with a Browning as well? Some players tend to forget upgrading the lieutenant there with the additional weaponry. And what seemed to be has not upgraded the lieutenant with a Browning light machine gun, which would benefit the lieutenant quite nicely. Then have a BAR, the Thompson, and the Browning light machine gun, which would be a lot of firepower for one lieutenant. Looks like he's not realised his fuel point has been cut off. In this regard, Theodosius basically just needled the point itself, ignoring the points around it, meaning, in that sense, J for Jet is less likely to pay attention because it's not noting, all the territory around it is, pretty much intact. So again, he might be more likely to overlook the point there. I wonder if that's actually done on purpose by Theodosius, just needle the point itself, ignore the territory around it, thusly giving the illusion, if J for Jet is occupied elsewhere, that the fuel point is in fact safe, but in reality is it's neutral. It is essentially Switzerland right now. Here's some doing the count the Browning light machine gun's got Lieutenant moving up there, and there you go, Browning light machine gun up there. Good work by J for Jet. Rather than fighting as best they can here from the centre with the light machine, got a 5th card moving up here. Spare Panther quarter set up to cover the victory point and the eastern fuel. So good for the 106th Panzer Brigade Feldherrnhalle, commanded by Dr. Franz Berke, an experienced armoured commander from the Eastern Front. In fact, a rather unique armoured formation there, the Schwerer Panzerregiment Berke, which is combined Panther and Tiger unit there. Fun fact. He fared less well against the Americans though, because it turns out fighting the Americans is rather different from fighting the Soviets. He tried to apply the exact same tactics there, and that did not fully work out. In the West City, got Rierson there with the full squad depleted though, and there you go, you see Theodosius rapidly falls back, not trying to push his luck, as J for Jet here pulls everything he can on the carve point to deny Theodosius' resource for his tank, and maybe allow J here to sort of push back with armor himself, but he's actually falling behind it because again he forgot about the fuel point, which shifts the old fuel difference in favour of Theodosius and allows him to actually get out Panthers faster than J for Jet and get arm out. So again, very sort of clever move there by Theodosius, very clever. Again, I'm not entirely sure if it was intentional, in which case it's clever, but if not, it's just sort of silly like. But part of me would like to believe that was a pretty clever needling of the point. We got air support calling for J for Jet to hold off the cop on there. Quick strike there from the US Air Force, almost wiping out the Fult's going to do as well there. Double mortar by here for J for Jet, possibly to take out the Schwer Panzer Corps, of course, just threaten all the infantry. Or you can just smoke around here, basically, prevent the machine gun from doing anything. And Otto, you're not supposed to be holding your belts. What's going on here? Your man's machine gun, no, you do. I man's a machine gun. 9, Ludwig, you can't even aim straight. There we go. Looks like Fritz finally got around to doing, but that's a sizable delay then the machine gun getting manned there. That's a sizable delay. Lieutenant here with the BAR and Thompson. They're shredding German infantry as they advance. We finally got one squad upgraded here for the Theodosius, by the way, but that's about it. 5th Cavalry force back. Schwer Panther Corps down to half health. Theodosius needs to get that fixed up and push forwards. J for Jet here making good progress in the west. He's still reasonably short on sort of infantry. In fact, he's lost on his Rieslin squad, so he's going to have to replace that. He's going for 50 Cavalry more. He's still not taking up here, and he's approaching that point there where Theodosius can soon hit him with a Panther 4. So it's starting to become pretty risky here for J for Jet versus Theodosius because, well, he's bringing up the anti-tank gun, but I was about to say, you know, he has no anti-tank weapons. He's got zip, nada, zilch, bupkis. They're going one on the way there for J for Jet and the 7th Armour, which is so far surprisingly short on actual armour. Besides that one Stuart, which suffered a short and nasty fate. Counterattack towards the west. Theodosius are overall refraining from upgrading too many of his Fulton grenadiers. Perhaps relying on elbow grease rather than automatic firepower. Only upgrading one because, you know, at least one he has to do something with, he supposes. Pushing up there, mortars firing away. They could certainly threaten any sort of units that hang around for too long in one spot. We got a quick bun gun off the 5th Caliber. Alongside MD-34 support, we got Fulton sneaking up here, bypassing J for Jet's western forces. He just hit some more critical points. Could in fact hit the cutoff point directly, denying J for Jet more fuel as yet to try and take up. The Theodosius Bally can now go for the Panther 4, the Panzerkampfwagen 4. Machine gun there getting absolutely pummeled here by J for Jet's assault. I mean, double mortars is quite an offensive support weapon here. And that makes it a lot harder for the Theodosius to actually... Oh! Lost the MD-34 crew. Utterly wiped here by J for Jet's reckless advance here. Lieutenant just laying down a storm of bullets against Theodosius' men. Almost wiping out the Sturmpaniers as they recruit the MD-34. 12 kills there. In the west there. Calf point cut off. Pearson's almost wiped out here. Force being held up. He's going for the anti-tank. He's going to try and destroy it before he gets it up. He has repaired it though. Good work by Theodosius. Some players will actually not get around to doing it. Second Rieslin squad lost for J for Jet. He's really going to need to replace infantry now. Panther 4 halfway done. We got a Calliope out for J here. He's not going to be able to take up then. He is absolutely pulling forwards here with only a Calliope, and that's still that got blown up so far. I mean, he's got a lot of firepower for his men though, but it still feels pretty risky here. Theodosius yet to go for Doctrine, and we got the Calliope moving up point blank to fire as much as possible. Can he actually destroy it before the Panther 4 finishes? Oh, he does! He is able to destroy the Schwer Panzer quarters the moment before the Panther 4 is ready. Forcing Theodosius then to actually go for Dawn, in which case actually a good choice. He kept it there as opposed to reserve, not choosing yet. Otherwise he'd not have a counter tank here. But now he can at least go for the Command Panther. But still, that was close. That was right before that was finished. At the same time, the Theodosius is, you know, taking his time to secure the western territories, denying J for Jet more fuel, so at least for say a second Calliope, at least in some actual tank. But holy smokes! Right before the Panther 4 got finished, it got destroyed. Like, they were just almost there. Yeah, alright, just straight ahead. I don't know where we are. Yeah, I think we'd best head back to Berlin. Yeah, I think that is the best decision, Sir Ludwig. We could get lost. I think, actually, we can see some... Nine. That's just a mirage. The heat is affecting your brain, Fritz. We in Western Europe. Yeah, I know. It is so hot in Western Europe here in 1944. Aircraft there sneaking about, spotting out targets there for J for Jet and to tank, and they're wiped here. Bit risky there, but J for Jet again. He is playing a very high stakes game versus Theodosius, which again has a tendency of working up. At the same time, does leave him somewhat vulnerable. In which case, Theodosius slaps him back really hard. Then watching the centre victory point. The lack of infantry for J is also making it hard for him to defend and sort of push ahead and to tank and destroy it there by Theodosius. brave are getting there for crew. Second line infantry going out here for Theodosius, probably to counter the American mortars. They won't be able to do much against Calliope. And there you go, unit wiped. If at this point using the popular Calliope rocket shotgun tactic, which is get the Calliope as close as possible, then unleash hell, because in most cases the opponent is immediately retreating, they're likely going to lose it, because at close range the scatter is pretty much non-existent, meaning anything caught in it is going to die, unless it's a heavy tank, and even that tank is going to have a bad day. But of course now Jefferson is from the anti-tank gun, and we got there Theodosius Command Panther there on the hunt for the fatherland. Turn versus Fulton not paying attention there. Pretty risky. He's probably trying to save his Calliope at the moment, which is not going to work out. He might even lose the ambulance here to the Command Panther. Enter tank on the way there. Hang on, they needed to clear my throat. Put defender the centre victory point there. Bravely, but we got the Command Panther rolling in there, wiping the crew. So what will Jet do next? He's going to actually try and tag up, maybe get a counter out to the Command Panther that isn't anti-tanking, maybe a Jackson. And meanwhile, mortars creeping up, spawning in the centre. Now they're anti-tanking for Jet. He's clearly not going to go for any armour soon enough. As for Theodosius, what will he do? I mean, he obviously doesn't have any option for calling in more armour either, unless it is the Command Panther. And that's going to be a rather expensive practice long term. Mortar there needs to get the devil out of there before Theodosius cuts it down in its prime. Got the second enter taken out there. Panther taking shots, but there are no penetrating hits there so far. Shoots, misses. What do you expose to the rear armour? Oh, bad mistake there with Theodosius, or just some bad pathing. Another hit there. This time they were bouncing off the frontal armour of the Panther. And now there we go. Yeah, you can sort of see the lack of infantry that's actually hurting Jet, because it means the support weapons are a lot more vulnerable because there's no attack to cover them. Not even a resistance score with the Browning light machine gun, so that does put more pressure than the Jet. And makes this aggressive tactics a lot hard to pull off, because again he's lacking supporting, well, elements for the support weapons to support, and that's going to be protected by. I don't think he's going to go for Calliope now. I mean, he could go for Calliope now. With the Command Panther out in the field, that would be next to suicide for it. But with the Command Panther, Theodosius sort of swung the game around a bit more decisively in his favour, though of course the wiping out from those resistance also did quite a bit of good there. No sign of attack. In fact, we got more rifling on the way for Jet. Certainly making any armour riding for him suddenly less and less likely. The Son of Dharm in this case only dispatched an infantry regiment so far, it seems, with only a single light tank in support, and well, the Calliope. And sometimes it would just, be an infantry regiment fighting, the armoured elements being elsewhere. In particular for the Germans, whose Panzer divisions were in many cases critically short on armour, particularly on the Eastern Front, where it wasn't uncommon at all for tank crews having to fight as infantry. Of course, it's then funny, the Americans have that ability. They also have the resistance, which again was also very common for the Wehrmacht throughout most of the Eastern Front as well. Sort of funny that. Third rifle squad out though. Brian light machine gun there being handed out. He's got plenty of munitions for support abilities. Mines being laid down there finally by Theodosius. We also got the infrared half to out there spotting for his artillery. Those anti-tank guns. Oh, anti-tank artillery there. Bit sorry they're not feeling too on top today. Got a bit of a nasty cold, which is leaving me a bit unfocused and tired. So a few more mistakes cropping up than normal. But there you go, straight ahead into machine guns and light infantry guns. The infantry have to, of course, just further sussing out there what Jet is planning, making it a lot harder for Jet actually to surprise Theodosius. So that could be a very good investment here. Tank and still fending off the Panther there. Shots bouncing. Lieutenant push back. Still no sound take over there for J for Jet. Western flank there being pierced by Theodosius' brave men. Infantry scurrying away, anti-tankers falling back. In the east, you got riflemen with BARs engaging the folks going to be here. Firing from the safety of the ditches. 50 company needs to fall back, by the way, because it's way too easy to target with the double line, and plus, of course, the Panther. Tactical error there by J for Jet. Folks being pushed back by the double rifle squads. And we got a truck out here for Theodosius. And no tag up, so we got grenades up now. No time to bazookas. There you go, double anti-tanks firing at the end. Panther taking a few hits in there, but one gets cleared up by the foot guns who tend to move in to sweep them out. And grenades would of course help a lot versus the infantry, allow J for Jet to be more aggressive, maybe isolate the Panther support weapons, making them easier to deal with. So we'll have to see how that works out fully. Victory points wise, though J for Jet had a lead, but it's actually now falling behind slowly here, or at least soon will be falling behind Theodosius. And the 106th Panzer Brigade. Don't see those very often, though. Oh, well, the Germans did manage to mount infantry equipment on a lot of things. That was the half trade there. It was the Panthers that could get it, and you had like the assault rifles. Beyond that, I don't think there's that much else that sort of received infantry equipment upgrades before the war ended. And there was stuff that was deployed, I think, was sort of west, sort of Germany, maybe a bit eastern Germany as well there. Most of the close being wiped out here by the mortars. Stukas of Rus there for Theodosius, adding in some rocket artillery. Rather than blasting forwards into the Panther, into the Volksgrenadiers. 5th Cavalry immediately coming under intense interest from German artillery. While the Panther deals with the infantry, we got the anti-tankers moving in there to try and deal with the Panther there. Shot bounce and max range, forces versus Lieutenant. If it needs to pull them into cover, so folks might. Oh, never mind, they just moved out into the open. Tactical mistake there by Theodosius. So obviously trying to grenade them. The problem is, without cover, they are much bigger targets with the Lieutenant, with the BAR and the LMG there. So that feels like a bit of a mistake that all the veterans is helping out a bit at this stage. Stukas of Worcester almost down there for Theodosius. Almost. Lieutenant pushed back here. Trying to outmaneuver the anti-tankers here. Of course, you could use it as bait to maybe line up the anti-tank a bit better. Taking heavy damage on the Panther. He might actually lose it here. Got grenade assault on one of them. Oh dear, armor piercing runs on both. One got knocked out though. One got knocked out. Still punch sweeping in to clear out the other one. Shot bounced off the Panther. There we go. Both anti-tank guns down. Stukas of Fuß on each cell. Getting one of the anti-tank guns. The other one is standing, but it is barely operable. If the Americans try to get their hands on it, which is not looking likely since they just retreated here. Stukas of Fuß though, plus the loss of the anti-tank is going to make it really difficult for J for Jet to do anything versus Theodosius. He has lost, well, all of his anti-tank. Options for armor is limited because he's yet to go for an attack. And there you go, J for Jet surrenders. A loss for the 7th Armored Division's Infantry Regiment here. Unsupported with limited armor there. They struggled despite aggressive, valiant tactics. They were unable to pull through in the longer running part, I think, because J for Jet was then very quick to not replace his losses. As it pushing for the Calliope, never taking up for armor. I definitely think that was one of his big mistakes. But also just that Stu up there, I think he completely underestimated how quickly Theodosius could counter it if he just, you know, spot the cat and then prepared ahead of time for it. So that feels like a mistake there by J for Jet, which the Desert had to punish, made it increasingly difficult for J for Jet to do much. But again, his aggressive tactics would allow him to push back at times. But once the Panther arrived, it became a lot harder for J for Jet to maintain momentum, particularly as he was not replacing his infantry at fast enough rate. And there's also the argument they maybe should have gone for another doctrine instead. Then he's not even going to take up. I mean, at least then he could have gone for heavy cavalry, had Rangers instead, and maybe, you know, a Pershing down the road. So there's some room for improvement. Theodosius, I think, handled nicely at times. Could upgrade his forces to sort of withstand the rifle better at times. I feel that was a bit late. More machine guns, I think, could also have helped Theodosius there. And maybe some orbital done rather than waiting all the way for that Panther before calling in could also maybe held up a bit. But overall, well played by both players. But, you know, there were some issues there for Jeff, just I think, Strandy there versus Theodosius. So, hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, want to subscribe, tell a friend, share it with everyone. If you like what I do consider donating or pledging on Patreon. Either helps me out a ton, so, you know, do consider. Of course, a big thanks to all those who already have. You are what allows me to keep doing this on a daily basis. So, thanks to all of you. And, of course, thanks to anyone who decides to donate or pledge. This is Imperial Dane signing off, and see you all tomorrow for another signing episode. Bye!